Welcome to the Positive Sports Podcast. I'll be your host this afternoon, Ed Montana. Alongside me today, my man with many jobs, my brother. How you doing, Alex?
Pretty damn good. And yes, I got many jobs because when you go to mom's house, it's nothing but work. But the good thing out of that is you get fed.
That's true. That's true. I tell you what, mom and dad, and to an extent, I think this happens to a lot of guys, right? But mom and dad view a holiday as an opportunity to make us work.
Yeah.
So just to let you guys know.
On Labor Day weekend, too.
Right. Happy Labor Day weekend to everybody. We're still working, so it doesn't count for us. But it's a different kind of work. So I'm going to go ahead and tell the story because I think it's hilarious.
Go ahead.
So Alex is a big Formula One fan, as is my dad. And me, not so much. So Alex decides he goes over there every couple of weeks or every week, whenever the races are. And they're usually early in the morning because most of them are in Europe.
Right.
And so he goes over there early in the morning, has breakfast with mom and dad, and watches the race. We were talking and stuff, and I said, I'm going to crash that party. And because we were talking, and he said, yeah, I got to do some stuff around the house for mom and dad. So I'm thinking, he's got to put up a picture frame or something like that, right? Something simple.
It's never that easy.
It's never that easy. So I go over there, I crash the party, I watch the race. I'm having a good time. I'm standing next to mom, and she shows me the list of what she's got a little to-do list for you. And the first thing on there, I'm like, I'm out. I'm out. I'm not doing it. The first thing on there, deal with the beehive.
Beehive.
I'm like, well, I don't think so.
And I was like, well, damn, I didn't know about that. I didn't come dressed for that occasion. I came to eat breakfast and watch a race and maybe put up a filter or two.
Yeah, no. So the very first thing we had to deal with was and it wasn't a beehive; it was a wasp's nest, right? Which is even worse. And the part that made it really screwy was it's not just like hanging off the side of the house because those are easy. You get those little that can of Raid, you can spray that thing from across the street and knock it out, right? Those things are like laser pointers, right? No, this one's in the freaking gutter.
In the gutter.
In the downspout of the gutter.
Like, they couldn't have picked a better place to, But no, they have to accommodate themselves, I guess. Make it harder on us.
So we're out. So my stupid ass decides to help, which I don't. What is wrong with me, right? Of all the shit that you have to do, I was like, I should have helped you put in some filters. I'll help with the filters, the air filters. That's no big deal.
And I gladly let you take that wheel. Go ahead and drive, brother.
That's a good time. So we're standing on the ladder. Oh, I'm standing on a ladder, but then you were standing on a ladder at the time, and we're spraying this Raid down this hole.
Which the ladder is not tall enough. I mean, the house, the height of the gutters was a little taller than us. Even for you, that you're taller than me, made it a little difficult to spray and move that rag. I mean, you basically had it. We clogged the top up with the rag, and the only way you can spray in there was to take the whole rag off and spray quick and cover it back up.
And unbeknownst to us at first, the hive was close to the top.
Yes.
So as soon as you sprayed in there, and you could hear them rattling around in there, I was like, oh my God, we're going to get stuck. And I'm allergic. I'm allergic to bee stings. I don't know about wasps.
So do you swell up like a...
Now, the last time I got bit by a bee, I was a kid. And it did. I mean, my arms swelled up like a football. And so that's how I know I'm allergic. But I haven't been bit since I was like 12 or something. Damn near 50 years ago.
I got bit on my knee. That was probably like a weird spot to get bit at, but it was just a hard pinch. I'm not a girl like you.
No, I mean it swelled up like a balloon. And I got bit by a wasp a few years ago, and I was fine. But when you get bit by a wasp, I mean it's like a shot. I got bit in the back of the shoulder, and I felt like my arm going numb, and so I thought I was having a heart attack or some shit.
Yeah, that's not cool. But hey, we got the job done.
Hey, here's the other thing. For those of you out there that have elderly parents that need your help, go help them. But go have fun doing it. I mean, Alex and I were over there for an hour maybe doing filters and the wasp thing, and they made us take down a net or some shit. We had so much fun. We laughed so hard about all kinds of stupid stuff. You know what was the stupidest thing out there? Was Dad. Right? My dad can barely move, right? Yeah. He walks around with a cane. he's got really bad knees. He can barely move. And his stupid ass is standing 6 feet away from the downspout of the gutter. I'm like, what are you doing out here? What are you going to do? Run away?
Yeah, we would have to carry him.
Yeah, pick him up, throw him over our shoulder, and run away with him. Like, what are you doing out here? And he's just laughing.
He don't care.
He didn't give a shit.
But yeah, I mean, it's always fun, man. I mean, I don't think there's ever been a dull moment where we've had to go do something for the folks, and it's just it helps, number one, if it's something tedious to do, right?
Right.
And I think just our attitude about it is it just plays the part, right?
It's all a good time.
We can be serious, we can be funny, we can be whatever. We're just. And they go along with it. They don't know any better.
They just laugh and they wonder, what the hell are these two talking about? Why are they so damn happy when they're here to work?
Yeah, they're chill.
My favorite story of you and I helping mom and dad is when they first moved down to Texas. They moved into this apartment, and something was wrong with the way the apartment faced, and they couldn't get satellite. And my dad was just miserable to the point where my dad went down to the office and said, hey, this apartment's not going to work for me. Y'all need to move me to another apartment. So a month later, they got him, the next month, they said, okay, well, this apartment over here is free. You can move there. And of course, who had to move?
We did.
The Positive Sports Podcast brothers, which there was no Positive Sports Podcast, but it was us. We had to move them.
That's right.
And I remember, we're moving stuff kind of like one thing at a time because it's across the parking lot. And we got one of these love seats, one of these, one of like the power chair, right?
Right.
Dad's
Recliner.
A little recliner. And we would put it on the dolly, and one of us would sit and the other one would push top speed.
And we would recline it back.
Yeah.
So our feet are like out. It's almost like bobsledding.
Right. It's like the luge.
The luge.
Right.
Yeah.
It was like luge on a dolly.
They need to put that on the 2030 Olympics or something.
Oh, that would be so.
That would be awesome.
We had so much fun doing that. We laughed. In fact, I think one time didn't we even come back with the recliner because we wanted to go again?
Possibly. I wouldn't doubt it.
And my parents are like, "You guys are gonna get tired." We're like, "We don't give a shit. This is fun."
It was
a mild version of Jackass.
All right, man. So let's get into it. Let's talk about some sports. That's what we're here for. College.
But before we do
what?
Before we talk about sports.
What's that?
We got to give our fans an opportunity to say something to us. If you guys want to say something to us, reach out to the show via email at positivesports10@gmail.com. Positivesports10@gmail.com. If you want to get a hold of this guy, Alex, you can do so on Twitter at Brooklyn Gaucho. And if you want to get a hold of me on Twitter, you can do so at eMontana21. Now, let's get into the show.
Well, if they don't know the context by now, then something's wrong with you guys.
We're going to talk about some sports.
Come on now. So, let's get into some football. College football.
College football.
Just started yesterday, Saturday, first day. Well, it wasn't the first day, right? But it's the opening weekend.
Right.
And
I like the opening weekend of college football because you get the oddball matchups, right? They don't play in their conference, so you get these different types of games. It's good. Most of the games are blowouts.
Yes.
But you get like a handful of good games that are fun to watch.
Yeah, well, I mean, the top five, right? Well, Alabama, Clemson, Georgia, Ohio State, and Wisconsin.
Right.
They pretty much blew out whoever they played. They just weren't. I mean, Ohio State covered the game by themselves.
Yeah.
They covered by themselves. It was, so, I mean, there's no fun in those games.
Yeah, they're kind of, they're a money grab for the small school and a good exercise for the big schools.
Yeah.
Back to the Ohio State thing. I don't know if you know, Urban Meyer continues to not keep his mouth shut, right? He continues to make statements that continue to make him look like a buffoon and continue to make him look like he just does not understand what's going on. So he made another statement.
Either that or he feels the guilt inside.
And he feels like he's got to justify himself.
Yeah.
But the guy he's either clueless or he's a D-bag. I'm not sure which. I am leaning more and more towards clueless because I think that he's blinded by his love for Zach Smith and his loyalty to Earl Bruce. He just doesn't see it anymore. I mean, he just does not see it. I think that if we were talking about someone else, it might be a different story. But I think he doesn't get it. Anyway, more came out about his suspension. Do you realize he is suspended literally for the 3 games? So he coaches them all. He's not suspended for 3 weeks. He's suspended for 3 games, 12 quarters of football, because he's allowed to coach all week long.
But the
and then he gets Saturday off.
Nice. He made out good on the deal.
He made out like a bandit. Which, again, brings me back to my original point. Ohio State, you knew what you wanted to do. Why go through all of that charade of an independent investigation, of a press conference? Why go through all that stuff? You're making yourselves look even dumber.
Well, I don't understand why can't NCAA step in and have a say and do something? Right? Because I mean, in other sports, you have the commissioner of the league or whatever.
Yeah.
Step in. Why can't
the NCAA step in?
Yeah.
That would be a true independent, right? Like that would be more of an independent body to me. But
they probably don't even feel like it's worth taking the time out to investigate.
Well, they're too busy making sure the kids aren't getting cream cheese on their bagel. You know? It's just
tattoos.
Absurd. Or tattoos. It's absurd. Todd Gurley got suspended 5 games for getting $3,000 for autographs. Terrell Pryor got suspended by Ohio State, by the same Ohio State, got suspended 4 games for trading in his stuff for tattoos. It was his stuff.
Right.
It was his. They had given it to him. It was his. He traded it for a tattoo. 4-game suspension.
And that came from
Ohio State. The very same people that suspended Urban Meyer 3 games for letting this guy do whatever the hell he wants to his wife.
I don't get it. Well, screw Ohio State. They can. They'll probably win their 3 games anyway without him. I mean, I don't know who they're playing, and
Oregon State, Rutgers. I don't know.
Yeah, something like that.
OSU versus OSU, yes.
And you had, I guess, the other big game yesterday on the first Saturday of college football was Notre Dame and Michigan. Michigan looked a little, they looked a lot overpowered by Notre Dame, I feel. And I just don't feel that Michigan offense is good enough.
No.
They just don't.
No, what they showed yesterday.
I don't like that style of football that they play. They were never really a... how do I say, like, a mobile quarterback scramble. They never had that type of offense that I can remember.
I'm not quite sure what's going on at Michigan. I'm a little confused. They looked unprepared in the first quarter, and I just don't understand how that, when you have a big game, first game of the season, I don't understand how you're not prepared for that game or how you even look unprepared. They looked unprepared offensively. They looked a little unprepared defensively. The Metellus hit that got him ejected was obviously a big deal. I mean, it's amazing that they only lost by 7.
Yeah.
Really. And the offense, to me, the offense is the big problem. Giving up 24 points, although bad, not catastrophic in today's game. But scoring 10...
Yeah.
I mean, they scored 17, but one of them was on a kickoff. They got 7 on a kickoff. Scoring 10 on offense that's just not good. And I just don't. And the problem is the offensive line from a pass perspective. They have no ability to protect and let the quarterback throw the ball down the field. It's going to be a problem.
I think that it was you saw a mixture of both because to me, Notre Dame's defensive line looked decent, but I don't know if that's because Michigan's offensive line looked a little weak.
Yeah,
but I think it was a little bit of both.
Yeah, I don't think Notre Dame's defensive line is that good.
Yeah,
they looked like gangbusters at times, and it's what's really concerning for Michigan fans is what's going on with Jim Harbaugh? This is year 4 of Jim Harbaugh. These are all his players. This is all his scheme.
Right.
The people that are playing a majority of the minutes and plays are people that have been in his system for 2 and 3 years. They know the system. What exactly is going on here? Obviously, at this point at San Diego State and at Stanford and even with the 49ers, 4 years in, they were pretty darn good. So it's a little bit scary as to what exactly is going on.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you because I'm not a Michigan locker room insider, but I can say that sometimes, he just may not be the right coach for that team, for that group of players. Sometimes the coaches, not just Jim Harbaugh, there's many coaches that just don't get through the heads of these players because they don't say the right things or how they say it. I don't know, but, this is his 4th year. Does he have 1 year left?
Yeah.
I mean, they'll probably let him finish it out, but I don't think they'll resign him unless he can bring home a championship.
If they go 8-5 this year, losing to Notre Dame and then losing to the big guys in the Big Ten, Ohio State, Wisconsin, Michigan State, and Penn State. If he goes 8-5 again, he's going to be hard pressed to get back. At schools like this, you lose to your rivals every year.
Now, let's say he loses all those games except his very last game, which is against Ohio State. He beats Ohio State. He probably keeps his job.
Yeah, even if he loses all of those games, I don't think he's going to get fired. Yeah. I think they'll give him 1 more year, let him play out his contract, let him coach out his contract. But, I don't know.
I mean, these are the players he shitted out. I mean, what the fuck,
You're back to the shit out.
I just think it's hilarious, that's all, but
Is there a bigger jerk with the media than Nick Saban?
Yes.
Who?
Yes. Coach Pop does the same thing he does. Bill Belichick does the same thing he does.
No,
all the great coaches do it.
No, it's not the same.
Yes,
it's not the same.
It's no different.
Bill Belichick will not answer questions, but he won't berate the media. Did you see the one last night?
Yeah, but he lets you know. Yeah, but he lets you know. He's basically saying, just shut up. I'm not going to answer your question. You can keep asking. Or if not, he'll just walk away. And that's just as much as disrespect as whatever Nick Saban does.
Yeah, but the way Nick Saban was doing last night was ridiculous.
Coach Pop plays 82 games, and he's on primetime plenty of the games, and you see it on the interviews on the sidelines or the halftime interviews. He gives you answers that are kind of dickhead-like.
Let me tell you something. I have less of a problem with Pop because I think the in-game interview is intrusive and to me it's annoying. Like I find it annoying that they want to talk to these guys during the game. So I understand that exasperation and that with Popovich he's just dismissive of your question. He just won't answer it. But Saban, it was after the game, and Saban went out of his way to complain to the media about wanting to talk bad about. Look, you want guys competing for a job. That's what you want. You want guys competing for a job. That's what he has. And he just doesn't like that he's being asked about it because it happens to be at the quarterback position. But, I mean, he's got guys competing all around the field for jobs. And for him to berate the media and say, well, you guys want me to talk bad about somebody. No, we're not asking you to talk bad about somebody. We're asking you who's going to start next week. You just had a game to evaluate. What is your opinion of what's going to happen next week? Or where
evaluate? Bro, he just finished the game. He had no time to evaluate. And plus, look.
Alex,
look,
he's been evaluating all game long.
Bro, he played them both. They both played. What else does the media want to know? Why are they...
The media wants to know when are they going to
play? Well, wait during the week to ask the question.
Look,
the media is going to be the media.
But again,
that's why people like Marshawn Lynch don't want to talk to the media because the media instigates.
That's fine. That's fine.
It's not fine. It's fine that they answer like that.
It's fine if you don't want to answer. But the media is doing their job. And you're talking out of both sides of your mouth if you're Nick Saban. Because you allowed ESPN all of this access to come watch you. And you've got this 5-part special on ESPN. You're more than willing to take that media and to take that money while they show you in a good light and pump up your your views and pump up your school for 5 weeks, but then you don't want to answer a question after the game that everyone wants to know the answer to. That, to me, is being an asshole, and you're talking out of both sides of your mouth.
Nick Saban doesn't need views. I think we all know, and he's very well known who he is and what he does. He doesn't need the views.
No, he doesn't, but it helps his program. It helps his program. It helps his program. It helps him the next time there's a contract to be negotiated. It helps. It's not a lot, but it helps. At the end of the day, and the school is benefiting from it, and he's there's no need for him to berate. That poor woman, man, someone told her in her ear to ask that question, and he's chewing on her like she did it.
I personally don't mind it. I mean, hey. Look, if someone came to you at 5 o'clock to try to interview you, hey, Ed, how was your day? How did it go? What did you do? Or did you get these reports? That would be pretty goddamn annoying.
I would be more than glad to tell people about my 10-key situation, my problem with Excel, that one spreadsheet that I thought I had recovered, and then it was not recovered. It's, look, I would honestly give them my opinion of what I think of Microsoft and Excel.
I totally understand a guy like Marshawn Lynch who just does what he does to the media. I love it because
I understand that too.
Yeah, because the media has a way of instigating, of setting you up with trick questions. They've done it. They do it to LeBron James, and you see the way LeBron James answers. He does it a little bit more politically correct. Okay, Nick Saban is just, a little more outspoken, and I think that it rubs people the wrong way because it's Alabama and they win and it's Nick Saban. It doesn't bother when a guy like Coach Pop does it because it's the Spurs and they do things ethically, do things the right way, and it's perfect, and they can't do no harm to nobody. So that's where I think people get, it's all about perception. People get a perception about things.
I don't have a problem with the coaches or the players that don't want to respond to the media, that don't want to be a part of the circus. I understand that. I'm okay with that. But to berate a media member for asking a question, I think that's a bit much, and that's my problem with Saban, especially with Saban this year when he's taken all the positives from the ESPN show. That being said, there's really no reason for Jalen Hurts to start over Tua. I don't even know I can't say his name. That kid is good. Yeah, that kid is gonna be really good.
He's gonna be in the Heisman talk this year. He well could.
He very well could be. Yeah, he looks like the real deal.
Yeah, Jalen Hurts, man.
He's good too.
I think he only has like 2 losses in his career. He just doesn't look like a quarterback that can, like a Deshaun Watson, that can take his team and rally them and drive down, 80 yards and score a touchdown. You know what I mean? He just doesn't look like that type of quarterback. And I feel for him, because it's got to be tough.
He's really good.
Yeah.
He's still really good, but you can tell that Tua is a little bit better.
Yeah. Tua just, look, the national championship game kind of spoke for itself and spoke kind of
that was more towards, we thought that might have been, catching lightning in a bottle, but that looks like it was for real.
So with college football here, I think it's one of the best days of sports, right? You got the Super Bowl Sunday, you got an MLB opening day, whatever. But for college game day, it starts like at 9 o'clock, right? And you got the crew out there picking games and doing their predictions and whatever. My favorite part is the signs being held up.
And they get better and better.
Oh my God, they're great. So I ask you, if you were at the Home Depot college game day, what would your sign say this week?
If I was at the Michigan Notre Dame.
No. At the college game day broadcast.
And it was in South Bend.
Oh, it was. Okay, I didn't know that.
So if I was there,
yeah, what would your sign say?
Touchdown! Jesus loves Jim Harbaugh. Let's see.
Let me tell you. So the quarterback for Wisconsin, his name is Alex, right? His name starts with Alex, right? Yes, it is. It's Alex. And so me being Alex also.
Your name begins with Alex.
That's right. My name begins with Alex. See, we all come to find things out on the 34th episode.
I was going to say, it's only taken 34 episodes.
So
34 episodes and 40 years of living for you to figure this out.
36.
Whatever.
But who's counting? So my sign would say, I'm the real Alex Hornibrook. How cool of a name is that, bro?
That's terrible.
That's awesome.
That's terrible.
That's awesome. He's got the best name for a college kid, I tell you.
Yeah, no kidding.
Hey, what's your name? Alex Hornibrook.
I tell you, one time I went to a party in college, and I went with like 3 of my fraternity brothers, and one of them was a guy who was about 6'6". I mean, he was a big guy. He looked like a football player, right?
Okay.
And we went to this house party, and we ended up kind of caught in a corner, kind of by the keg, and there was like, I don't know, like 8 girls around us. And so he started talking. Michigan had a guy that was that his name was something Van Dyne.
Okay.
My buddy's name was Klein. And so he was just talking to the girls, and he kept, yeah, I'm Scott Van Klein. And they were like, oh, you're the kicker, or whatever it was. And he's like, yeah, you know. And so we played it up all night, and I was actually on the football team. I don't remember. I think I used my real name, but they didn't know. Like, I'm just some third-string punter, you know.
The water boy.
Yeah. I'm a third-string punter, so you won't see me on TV, but
That's
it's still fun
awesome.
to play.
That's awesome.
It's still fun to be on the team.
That's awesome.
The other good game yesterday was the Washington-Auburn game. Now, Washington had to fly across country to play a neutral site game in Atlanta, which Atlanta is very close to Auburn.
Yeah.
Auburn ended up winning that game. And as much as we talk about Alabama, man, it's going to be a tough road for them because they're going to have to square off with Auburn.
They're going to have
to. Auburn is no joke. The SEC is going to be tough. It'll be easier for Georgia because there's not that many good teams over in the East. Mm-hmm. But in the West, and it's going to be tough for Alabama, for Auburn, and for Texas A&M. Because I think A&M is really good, and LSU. It's a bit of a gauntlet.
Yeah, I mean it's always been though. The SEC is just. I mean, look at all the players they produce for the NFL, you know?
On the other side, Georgia has it a little bit easier because Florida's down a little bit, and the rest of the SEC East is not.
And they got good. Jake Fromm with 2 M's.
Yeah.
I'm Alex with 3 X's.
Triple X.
Triple X.
X-rated.
So, yeah, that was college football. It was not a bad weekend. Not a bad weekend. We still got a couple games left.
The games really heat up further down the line once you get into October and November.
Once you get into conference play.
The good thing about college football, and not as much now because you've got 4 teams that make the playoff, but it is kind of it's kind of like a 13-week playoff. You know, I mean, you lose. Michigan still has a shot. If they win out, because they'll win the Big Ten, which is one of the power conferences. But man, it's a tough road to hoe. Yeah. Washington, they lost, and they could still win the Pac-10, but the Pac-12, but the Pac-12 doesn't get that much respect and love. No. So,
and those games are always those are good battles out there.
Yeah, and so what's going to happen to them having a if they've got to run the table and may even need a little bit of luck. So, every week in college football, every week seems to be a playoff week, unless you're Alabama, in which case you could probably lose 3 games and still be in the top 4.
Do you think that the college football format rankings would work with the NFL?
Yes, but only because you have more head-to-head battles. Right, because you've only got 32 teams.
Right.
If you take
that'd be a lot of.
If you took just the Power 5 conferences, right? Uh-huh. You've got 12, 10, and whatever. You've got about 65 teams between the 5 conferences. 60 teams. That if you just rank them, it would work, right? Because you wouldn't have a Central Florida to throw a monkey wrench in the plans. A Boise State from years ago. A Notre Dame, right? Well, Notre Dame plays in the ACC, I guess. So they're still in it. But it would work if rankings work if you have a small population. But if you have whatever it is, 115 teams. Yeah, you can't do it.
Yeah.
You can't do it. The team that was really disappointing to me yesterday compared to what I thought preseason was Texas. Texas went up to Maryland.
Oh man, that was
and they did
a shootout, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a bit of a shootout, but not crazy. The 34-29 or something like that. But,
I just watched the first half of it.
But Texas did not. Maryland is not that good of a team, and Texas did not look great.
Yeah.
So I was a little disappointed, and that was a lot of.
Or were they ranked? I don't even know if they were ranked.
I think they were 23rd or 25th.
So they're not ranked anymore.
Not anymore. Nope. They will fall out.
So we're gonna move on to some baseball.
Baseball.
You know, I feel like we've been talking baseball
all summer,
pretty much every episode, and not much is changing. Right, as far as standings, they all staying the same pretty much.
Yeah.
Now I will say this: the one division that I think is up for grabs, and I don't care how many games this team is behind. They play 7 more times against each other. The division leader has the harder schedule of the two. The Braves and the Phillies will come down to the very last weekend of baseball. The Braves don't come off as a team to run away with the division. And the Phillies, they look good one game, look bad another. That's going to be a battle to the end.
The only reason I don't think it's going to be a battle going into that last weekend of the season is because I think the Phillies are fading fast. The Phillies just seem to be falling apart at the seams.
Yeah, but the Braves can't largen if that's even a word, largen, new word of the day. Lengthen. I like to use largen. They can't largen the division lead over 3 games.
But the Phillies are bad and they can't smallen the lead.
Yeah, but I mean, you have to look at the largen picture. Spelling bee, I did not win, in case you guys are wondering. Vocabulary English, I failed all of that. I was really good in Italian and Spanish, though.
Really?
Yeah, well, fun fact of the day.
That is I didn't know that. The problem is the Phillies are not going to shrink that lead playing 500 baseball, and I think that's about what we're going to get from the Phillies the rest of the way.
I think we're in for a good division finish here.
I tell you where it's going to be good is going to be out west.
Because listen.
Now the D-backs and the Dodgers are tied.
That was an excellent game last night. The Dodgers came back and won on Saturday night 3-2 on a 3-run homer from Matt Kemp.
Yep.
They're tied now.
Yeah,
they're tied. They're tied, and it was looking almost like the Dodgers were fading a little bit, and now it's a tie ball game.
The Dodgers have relivened themselves.
Yeah,
and they have smallened the difference with the Diamondbacks to 0. So they are now in a dead heat. I think that's going to be the most interesting race because, the way it stands right now, if you don't win your division, you're out.
Yeah,
because the wild cards are Milwaukee and
Central, right? The Cardinals
and the Cardinals.
The Cardinals have this reliever. The kid throws. They had it on MLB Network. They were showing. I was watching the. I forgot what game I was watching. And they got this reliever. Damn, I wish I knew his name. I could bring it up, but this guy threw a full inning of work. Okay, got the 3 outs. And he had a whole at bat with nothing but 103, 104 miles per hour. I mean, I know that's not always going to strike out players and win you ball games, but holy cow,
that's a lot of speed. I wonder how accurate those recordings are because you hear all the time about these guys throwing 103 and 104, yet the record is still 100.9.
Who the hell threw that?
I want to say Nolan Ryan.
109?
No, 100.9. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
So I don't understand how that works with the speeds yet.
Yeah, I don't either, but it's still impressive to me just because I can't do it.
Milwaukee made a good move this week, picking up Gio Gonzalez. I think that's a good move.
Again, I think Dude, the Brewers are late to the party. I already told you. The guy that they had to pick up was Cole Camel Toe Hamels. Okay? And they failed to. And I just don't. Now how far back are you now? Now you're 5 games back of the division, and you are, and you're still in
the wild card.
You're in the wild card, but I think they made it a month too late, to be honest with you.
Oh, but they got an arm, which I think they needed.
Yeah,
and if Gio Gonzalez can go back to the 2017 Gio Gonzalez, well, it's going to be a really good pickup for them.
Maybe getting out of that Washington Nationals locker room might help him, right?
Yeah, getting out of that toxic clubhouse.
That's a hell of a race with St. Louis and Milwaukee.
The National League is going to be... I'm telling you, the National League is going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. But...
And the American League...
Shoot, Colorado's a half game behind the Dodgers and the D-backs in the West. So, I mean, it's up for grabs. It's tough. I don't... With the Phillies, the Phillies just look like they're fading. The big news in the... So, two really, in my opinion, two odd moves in the American League. The American League's all wrapped up, right? We know Boston's going to win the East, Cleveland the Central, the Astros the West. The Yankees are going to get the wild card, be the home team against the A's. That all looks like it's pretty much set.
Yeah.
But two moves and an injury that could have really long-lasting effects and are really kind of hard to understand. The big news to me, the injury to Chapman for the Yankees, that's a big deal.
Yeah. That's your closer.
And that's a problem.
You can thank Joe Madden for that.
Why Joe Madden?
I remember in World Series against the Indians, he just left him out there, let him pitch.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's a big loss for the Yankees. And now you got Dylan Betances, who's I guess now going to be the closer for
default, right?
For the meantime, who's not a bad option, but he hasn't been in that position for most of the year, right?
And he's not as good as
he's not a closer.
At the end of
he's
the day,
your 8th inning setup man, is what he is.
Yeah, exactly. At the end of the day, he's just not as good as Chapman. And then the Indians traded for Josh Donaldson from the Blue Jays, which I don't understand that move at all. Because
he's injured.
He was injured. Well, he's back now.
Yeah.
But you're right. He hasn't played a lot of baseball. He's been injured most of the year. Are they going to move Jose Ramirez out of third base? Because Donaldson's not going to play anywhere else.
Now, who's their third baseman?
Jose Ramirez, who's having an MVP season.
So they're playing him at second base. I think he plays both positions because I looked at that the other day.
Because Kipnis
is now playing in the outfield.
And he's slipped some.
Yeah,
too,
he has.
I don't understand what the Indians are doing exactly. That move to me was very confusing. Because the last guy I want to mess with is a guy who's having an MVP season in Jose Ramirez. That's the last guy I want to mess with.
And really, do you want to bring in you got to be sure that Donaldson is healthy enough, right?
Right.
I mean, what's the point of even making this move if you don't think he's fully healthy? And can he help out a team? Do the Indians need the help? I mean, they've been a very well balanced team all year long.
Yes.
I don't care what division they play in. They just are a balanced team. They have the talent. Did they really need to make this move? Unless they foresee a possible injury coming to someone that no one knows about, or that
you can't really foresee that.
Well,
unless you're on the Mets. In which case, then you can foresee.
Oh yeah, well yes. That's
if you're on the Mets, you can foresee that every guy who's playing right there is going to be injured.
I can foresee a Mets injury in the next 5 years for the next 5 years
exactly.
on their team.
Every single star.
Well, no, what I was saying is maybe they know something that no one else knows. I don't know, but that's a question mark move.
And then the other move in the American League that I found quite interesting is the Yankees picking up McCutchen.
They needed that. They needed that bad.
That tells me that the Aaron Judge situation is a lot worse than they thought.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what took them so long to make a move like this because they could have gotten a couple people and, that outfield is not that good. Well, I mean, Stanton is good, but I mean, no one else is doing crap at the plate.
I mean, Aaron Hicks has had a pretty decent season. Brett Gardner's just not that good anymore.
Ellsbury's still collecting that check on the bench.
That guy.
He got paid.
And he has done zero.
So now they get back Gary Sanchez, which that's a huge
and my only
addition.
problem with Sanchez is, man, he better just man up and play.
He's not that good at the plate. Behind a catcher.
Right, because he's got no hustle in him.
No.
And I'm hoping that come playoff time he'll develop some hustle. But
turn it on. You either have it or you don't.
That's kind of one of those things that, by the time you get to the major leagues, it's ingrained in you. You're either a hustler or you're average. And I guess in some cases you're below average, like Gary Sanchez, and you're in the major leagues, which is kind of odd.
So, yeah, the Yankees will probably make the playoffs. But they're not primed for postseason play, bro. I don't think they're good enough.
Not compared to the Red Sox and the Astros.
Although the Red Sox have looked a little shaky. Sale's supposed to be coming back. Price is supposed to be coming back.
It's a long season. Every team has a little bumps and bruises along the way.
I wouldn't be surprised if they're kind of holding those two guys out. Saving the arm a little bit. Yeah. They have so much firepower on that offense. They can put up 9 runs every game.
Every day. Yeah, it's going to be... I mean, again, the playoffs in the American League are going to be so much fun. I mean, because the Astros are getting healthy, getting everybody back. Who are your... just to kind of veer a little off topic, who are your biggest disappointments this year?
Teams?
Yeah. Who's your biggest? Because, I mean, if we talk disappointments, I think we've all got 3 or 4 that we could rattle off the top of our head. But
I mean, I think the biggest has to be, by far, the Nationals. With, Scherzer and Strasburg and Gio. And then you got, what is a pretty decent lineup. I mean, that has to be the most...
disappointing team?
Yeah, it has to be.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. The other one that's really disappointing to me... And I don't think it's really their fault. They've kind of gone through the injury bug as well. The Angels. I really expected more out of the Angels this year. And they just haven't. I mean, Trout was out for a bit. Ohtani was out for quite a bit.
Now Pujols is done for the year.
Yeah.
They have no pitching. I mean, I can't name a starter on their pitching staff. He's actually pitching Sunday night on ESPN against the Astros.
Yes!
That should be against Garrett Cole.
Oh, it's a good matchup.
That should be a good matchup.
It's a good matchup.
Ooh, I'm glad you bring up the Angels. Here's a question for you.
Yeah.
Are the Angels going to be kicking the tires and be on the same boat as the Nationals with Mike Trout? I mean, if you can't surround this guy with some talent... Are they going to be smarter than the Nationals and trade this guy away and just build up their farm system?
I don't think trading Trout away is. I don't think it's quite the same thing, and I don't think they should trade him away.
But the Angels haven't put anything around him.
Well, obviously they got to put some stuff around him, otherwise it's a moot point. But.
Right, but how long do you wait? I mean, Trout is only going to get older, and I'm sure he wants to win.
Trout is... Well, here's the thing, though. But with that team is you've got two pretty good pieces in Trout and Ohtani. So and they've got that shortstop that's good, Simmons, something like that. They've got a good shortstop. They've got some good pieces on offense. Their problem is pitching. Yeah. Ohtani aside. And so, they can't really. You
can't count Ohtani right now. He hasn't pitched the full season. I wouldn't count him as
a pitcher.
A pitcher at this point.
No, that's fair. Fair.
I mean, he is 4-1. He's got like a 3-something year. I mean, he's been decent at the times, but he hasn't put in 25 starts.
I wonder if there's any thought to making him a short reliever.
That's what I was just about to suggest. That might be better suited. Or
a closer. Imagine if he becomes their closer, right? And he comes in to close the game, right? So he comes in the top of the 9th to close the game, He gives up a run to tie it, so he gets a blown save. And then he comes in the bottom of the ninth, hits a home run to win it, gets a game-winning hit, and the win.
That would be amazing.
He's going to be a stats nightmare for people if they do that.
That'd be amazing.
That would be amazing.
I wonder how many other players we're going to see in the next, 20 years like him do what he does.
I don't think we're going to see very many because pitching has become so specialized.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you have starters that go 5 innings, and then you've got bullpen for 4 innings. It's crazy. We were talking. I think we talked about this. Maybe we talked about it on here. Maybe we didn't. But Justin Verlander won his 200th game not too long ago. How many more guys are we going to see win 200 games? Not very many.
Yeah, and he's put in a lengthy career.
Yeah, not very many. I mean, 200 is the new 300.
Right.
No pitcher on a roster today is even gonna sniff 300.
Yeah, so I wonder how the Hall of Fame voters will now vote, right? Because that was the big thing,
right? But they've got other statistics now to look at, right? So they've got WHIP and they've got the WAR, right? So I
hate that stat.
They've got all these other metrics now to look at because wins the game has evolved such that wins are really kind of
it's an overrated stat. You can't
for a pitcher, yeah.
For a pitcher, right? Yeah, for a pitcher.
Well, yeah, because they're not pitching as long into the game as they used to. It used to be, years and years ago. Actually, years and years ago, there was no closer,
right?
No specialized closer, and then at some point they said, okay, he goes 8 innings. Then we bring in someone else to close the game. And that was good. And then they said, well, no, you can go 7. You got one guy to come in, be the setup in the 8th, and then a closer. And now it's devolved to where the starter, if you get 5 innings out of a starter, you're like, all right.
Yeah.
Bullpen time.
Or you can do it the Rays way, the way the Tampa Bay Rays have done it, and that's
everybody pitches an inning or 2.
Everybody pitches, yeah.
We're probably going more in that direction than we are the other direction, right?
Yeah.
So, I think that experiment by the Rays, I think we're going to see more of that and less of guys going 8 innings, unless your name's Max Scherzer.
The Rays have been a pesky team all year, haven't they?
They have not had a bad season.
No, I think up until a couple of days ago, them and the Dodgers had identical records.
Yeah, what are they?
$120 million payroll or whatever they have against a $40 million payroll.
I mean, Tampa Bay's 72 and 63.
Yeah, that's
not bad.
As a Mets fan, I would take that right now. We would be in the race for the division.
But because they're in the same division as the Red Sox, are 21 games out of first.
Dude, that's insane.
Well, Boston's at 94 wins. They're gonna win 100 games before September 10th.
Jeez.
I mean, if you think about that, it's crazy. They're on pace for 115, I think. Some crazy number like that. 112. It's amazing.
That'd be all nice and dandy for regular season accomplishments, but what you do in the playoffs and the postseason.
Yeah, they better do. Better. I mean, if they end up winning 112 games, they better make it to the World Series.
Yeah.
Or it's gonna look foolish.
Well, and for Boston, you better.
Well, yeah.
You better win.
You better win the World Series, right? That's just the way Boston rolls.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, what do you think? You want to wrap this one up?
Let's. Yeah.
Or you got someplace else you want to go?
No. We can wrap this puppy up, man.
So, for all of you fans of the Positive Sports Podcast, you're probably wondering, why don't these guys ever talk about the NFL? The NFL starts on Thursday. Don't they know about the National Football League? When are they going to start talking about that? Blah, blah, blah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, our first episode was a recap of the Super Bowl. Way back when. That seems like a long time ago, doesn't it?
It was.
34 episodes ago.
February 4th.
So, of course, we're going to talk about the NFL.
That's right.
Only we're going to do a special NFL preview podcast, probably dropping soon.
Very soon.
We're probably going to do it tomorrow. It probably drop late tomorrow night. It'll be ready for your drive into work on Tuesday so that you can hear our picks and predictions for the 2018 NFL season.
Yep.
If you guys have any input, any thoughts you'd like to share with us, please feel free to do so. Email the show at positivesports10@gmail.com. Positivesports10@gmail.com. If you want to interact with my brother Alex, how do they do that?
Follow me on Twitter at Brooklyn Gaucho.
And if you want to share your thoughts with me, feel free to do so on Twitter as well at eMontana21. NFL preview. I can't wait.
You got a shout out?
I sure do. Do you?
No, I do not. Go ahead.
What do you mean you don't have a shout out?
I don't have a shout out.
Did you not know we were going to do a shout out today?
Yeah, but I don't have one. Jeez. There's nobody that I want to shout out right now.
All right. Well, my shout out goes to a very, very special person in my life, one of my best friends in the whole wide world, who turns a shit ton of years.
Damn.
My shout out goes out to my dad. It's his birthday this week on Wednesday. It's a little bit early, I know. But I know he's going to watch this episode. So, happy birthday, Dad. A shout out to a wonderful man, one of my best friends in the whole wide world. He's old, and he doesn't know much about this, that, or the other thing. But when I have problems, I still talk to my dad, even about shit he doesn't know or doesn't really understand. I'll still talk to him, and he'll still give me advice. And there's still something about the way he says something to me that seems to click. So, you know, I'm very blessed to have him in my life, and my shout out goes out to him. I hope he has a wonderful birthday this week. I'm sure I'll see him, and we'll chuckle about something.
Call Dad a ton of old.
Yeah, he is old. I mean, we're all old. What can I say?
Yeah.
And so with that, we're coming to the end of Positive Sports Podcast episode number 34. Famous 34.
Famous 34. Well, shit, with football right, you know, the NFL right around the corner. Who knows football more than Bo Jackson?
If I think 34 in football, I don't think Bo Jackson. I think Walter Payton.
Yeah, see, I'm not that old.
Sweetness. 34 is actually a good one, right? So let's go through that. So Bo Jackson and Walter Payton.
Football or all of sports?
All of sports.
Okay,
right?
okay.
In baseball, I think 34, Fernando Valenzuela. Fernando Mania from back in the day.
Shoot, I can't think of a 34.
Really? Basketball.
I can't think of a 34 either.
The truth. Paul Pierce.
Oh yeah, he does wear 34.
And
hockey. Nobody wears 34. Who cares?
Somebody wears 34 in hockey. Well, I don't know who it is though.
We don't know.
34 is a good one, man. There's a lot of good ones.
Yeah, they're just not coming to mind right now.
Yeah.
Shaq wore 34.
For a bit, that's right. Well, look at that. So we came up with a few.
Yeah, not bad.
So with that, we come to the end of another wonderful episode of the Positive Sports Podcast. Hey, everyone out there, go out, grill some burgers, and have some fun. Enjoy your Labor Day weekend. I hope you don't have to work like the insecticide crew here. Insecticide?
Terminators?
Exterminators. That's right. Montana Brothers Exterminating. We can start our own company. If you have a wasp problem, email the show at positivesports10@gmail.com. Positivesports10@gmail.com. I don't know what kind of response you're going to get, but you never know.
We'll respond.
We may go just for the fun of it.
Make sure you open your doors. Heck, we may even do the pot at your house.
That's right. If you have some food, we'll probably go.
Oh, yeah.
We'll work for food.
No bad cheesecake, by the way.
Oh. Oof. That cheesecake. I still feel bad when I think about that cheesecake. With that, folks, ignore the wasps. Ignore the bad cheesecake. Ignore the negativity. Be the positivity.
Peace.